The Supreme Court had to decide just how far a federal law shields gun makers from lawsuits when their products end up in the wrong hands. That law, known as the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, bars most claims against firearm manufacturers, unless a plaintiff can show the makers knowingly helped illegal dealers break the law. Nine Robes uses non-partisan, everyday language to focus on the facts of what the Supreme Court is saying. Here, you'll find clear, concise summaries of every Supreme Court opinion, stripped of legalese and clickbait headlines. Each post breaks down the facts, explains the court's reasoning, and highlights the crucial details that often go unnoticed. It's not just about what the court decided. It's about why those decisions matter, to give you a deeper understanding of the cases that define our nation's legal landscape. These summaries are generated by AI. Be careful and consult reputable sources when in doubt. On June 5th, Justice Elena Kagan wrote for a unanimous court in Smith & Wesson Brands v. Estados Unidos Mexicanos. Mexico sued 7 U.S. gunmakers, saying they aided and abetted dealers who sold weapons to traffickers. But the justices found that the complaint didn't show the manufacturers consciously joined any criminal scheme. Knowing a few dealers slipped guns across the border or choosing to market certain products, the court said falls short of the helping hand needed to open the door to a lawsuit under the law. With that requirement unmet, the court ended the case. So Mexico's challenge is off the table for now. What happens next and whether other efforts can succeed remains to be seen. The government of Mexico filed a lawsuit in U.S. District Court against 7 American firearms manufacturers under the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, PLCAA. Mexico claimed that its widespread gun violence problem is fueled by weapons trafficked from the United States to Mexican drug cartels, and it sought to hold the manufacturers civilly liable for harms resulting from criminal misuse by these third parties. Since the PLCAA generally shields gun manufacturers from lawsuits based on such downstream misuse, Mexico tried to use the law's predicate exception, which allows lawsuits when a manufacturer knowingly violated a law related to the sale or marketing of firearms, and that violation directly caused harm. Mexico alleged that the manufacturers aided and abetted unlawful sales by 1. Continuing to supply dealers known to traffic guns to Mexico, 2. Failing to implement distribution controls, and 3. Designing and marketing weapons, like military-style rifles or models with Spanish names, intended to appeal to cartel members. Justice Kagan, writing for a unanimous court, reversed the lower court's decision and ruled that Mexico's complaint did not convincingly allege the level of conscious affirmative participation needed for aiding and abetting liability under federal law. The court emphasized 3 key principles. Aiding and abetting typically requires involvement in a specific wrongful act, not just general industry practices, unless participation is pervasive, systemic, and culpable. Liability usually requires affirmative actions rather than failures to act or omissions. Routine, generally legal business conduct that incidentally helps criminals doesn't qualify. Mexico's allegations about industry-wide knowledge, passive distribution policies, or legal design and marketing choices showed mere indifference rather than the active joining of mind and hand required for aiding and abetting. Since no plausible violation was alleged, the PLCAA's protection remains in force and the lawsuit is barred. Justice Thomas, concurring, highlighted that the PLCAA's requirement of a violation might itself require a prior finding of a statutory breach, so civil plaintiffs can't effectively determine criminal guilt without proper criminal law protections. Justice Jackson, concurring, emphasized that Mexico's complaint never identified any specific violation of a firearms statute. The PLCAA's exception requires actual statutory violations, not just questionable business practices. The PLCAA was created to protect firearms manufacturers and sellers from being sued when their legally sold products are later misused by criminals. However, Congress included a narrow exception that allows lawsuits when a gun manufacturer knowingly breaks a law related to selling or marketing firearms, and that violation directly causes someone's injury. Congress provided examples of what might qualify, such as falsifying transfer paperwork or knowingly selling to prohibited persons, but broadly tied the exception to any applicable statute. This reflects a careful legislative compromise, blocking lawsuits based on how criminals later use firearms, while still allowing claims when gun makers themselves break clear legal duties. The court's ruling clarifies that to overcome this immunity, plaintiffs must show that manufacturers actively participated in illegal activity with the specific intent to further crimes, not just that they conducted business in ways that might indirectly enable criminal activity. Find us online at 9robes.ai. That's the number, 9robes.ai. Like and share this podcast with friends that like to be informed. 9 Robes provides AI summaries of U.S. Supreme Court cases. AI makes mistakes. People make mistakes too. We genuinely do our best to provide you with the most accurate summaries, but our best sometimes includes errors.